Please take your seats. I want to begin by recognizing the presence of the Honorable Prime Minister, Roosevelt Skerrit, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, Dr. the Honorable Vince Henderson, other members of the head table, including IRENA, representative from the United States government, representatives from the United Nations, representatives from all our partners present, both local and overseas, and welcome you to this morning's ceremony. I want to especially extend an exceptionally warm welcome to all of you who have traveled to be with us here in person, and to those who are joining us virtually via media platforms. I wish to extend to you as well a warm welcome to this opening ceremony and conference. The development of Dominica's geothermal resources and the commissioning of our first geothermal power plant has been topics for discussions for many years. For Dominica, as a responsible global citizen, we are all part of an emerging culture, championing a clean and green economy as part of our resilience agenda. But there's much more to this agenda, as more recently, the electricity supply challenges that we have been experiencing further underscores the need for an efficient, clean energy stream. Ladies and gentlemen, as the Permanent Secretary with responsibility for energy, I'm excited for what will transpire here over the next 2 days. Beginning today, some will learn for the first time, while others will be reminded why this government has kept a laser focus on geothermal energy, notwithstanding several other renewable energy sources. We will all be reminded of the vision behind this project and the investment that government and our partners, some of whom are here with us today, have made over the last decade. We will delve deeper into the capacity and skills gaps needed to realize that vision, and in the end, we all will have a better understanding of why, despite many challenges, limitations, and distractions, our Prime Minister has remained focused on geothermal track for Dominica. There are no substitutes for visuals. Some say a picture tells 1,000 words. And so field trips have been added to our schedule for the next 2 days to help especially our visiting partners appreciate the scope of what has already been done and get a clearer understanding of immediate next steps. To set the tone for today's discussion, it is my distinct pleasure to call to the podium the Honorable Dr. Vince Henderson, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, International Business, Trade, and Energy, to address us.
Thank you, P.S. Daly. Honorable Prime Minister, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, development partners, I hope you don't mind, and I hope you won't hold me to any form of protocol in the way I acknowledge your presence. But I would wish to recognize those at the head table first. Ms. Colin Francis, a real true friend of Dominica, liaison officer at the World Bank for Dominica. Good friend Didier Trebek of the United Nations offices in Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, and he represents the whole alphabet of UN agencies here, UNDP, UNEP, and UNIDO, I think, will join, is listening virtually, and the others that I hope I didn't miss out. Mr. Ahmed Badu, Director of IRENA, International Renewable Energy Agency, based in Abu Dhabi, is the Project Facilitation and Support Division Director. Ms. Brett Hernandez, Mr. Brett Hernandez, Dominica Country Officer, Embassy of the United States of America. I also want to take the opportunity to recognize a representative from the Caribbean Development Bank, the CEO of the CARICOM Development Fund, who is here with us, OECS Special Geothermal Unit. I want to thank you for joining us today. The IRC in Dominica, we have the director and staff of the IRC, Dominica, and especially the generation manager who's back most of our problems at this time saddled. The CEO of CREED, I want to take this special opportunity to recognize the CEO of CREED, Ambassador Francine Barron, the Dominica Geothermal Development Company, the members of the board, the CEO, Managing Director, Sir Fred John, the Geothermal Advisory Committee, the members of that committee. It's good to see you here. OMAT, our good friends from OMAT. It's good to have you on Dominica, as I know you have been for the last few days. And I see in our midst also the Financial Secretary, Ms. Dennis Edwards, the country, UN country rep, and our friends from our voisinage, our friends from the French territories, our neighbors who have played a very important role in geothermal energy development. I will seek not to stay too long at the podium. I also want to recognize specially invited guests, the media. Thank you very much for joining us, and all of those who are listening to us virtually. Dominica's journey in geothermal has been so long that I will not seek to represent the length of time that we've been pursuing geothermal energy with my presence at the podium. I will seek to abbreviate it and, of course, try my best to give you a brief view of where we have been and where we are today. Dominica has been pursuing geothermal from the 1960s. I like to say it this way because I like to bring the context to us. And I want to recognize and remember our forefathers who in 1974 created a geothermal company by an act of parliament in Dominica. That is how long that Dominica has been pursuing geothermal with the leadership of E.O. LeBlanc, the deceased father of the nation, and with Mr. Ducre, Nan Ducre, as Minister of Industries, seeking to push this technology forward. Very, very brave, very bold step. But that journey has taken us in what has been almost an obstacle course. And I want to, at the outset, recognize the true champion of geothermal in Dominica. Perhaps my face and my voice have been attached to geothermal very long, and people think I am the true champion. But the true champion is someone who has been able to ensure that Dominica's geothermal development always remain at the fore of our national development agenda. In 2015, when the government of Dominica was pursuing negotiations with a consortium of French companies, the bad news arrived that the consortium was no longer interested in pursuing this project. That was the second time. And by that time, a few months later, or weeks later, as a matter of fact, the country, and especially the southern part of the country, was decimated by the impact of Tropical Storm Erica. Tropical Storm Erica in 2015 caused us serious, serious damage, loss of lives, and which necessitated the relocation of communities. That notwithstanding, our Prime Minister had determined that we are going ahead with our geothermal energy development with or without a partner. And at that time had pledged $15 million to ensure that we can realize our geothermal objectives. We sought to move forward, and with the support of the World Bank, we developed the Dominica Geothermal Development Company. That company moved on to secure the support of consultants, and with the assistance of the government of New Zealand, we were able to get technical advice to develop that project. The project was prepared, we went to market with the World Bank as lead of that process. Unfortunately, in the interim or interregnum, we had a visit from Hurricane Maria. And in spite of the impact of Hurricane Maria, Prime Minister Skerrit determined in 2017 that we're still forging ahead with geothermal energy development. And since that time, we have acquired several acres, and I won't tell you the amount because you will think we're trying to develop a whole new country because of the amount of lands we've had to acquire. We have also been able to support the Geothermal Development Corporation with finances from the Treasury to provide payments to consultants in the transactions through negotiations with other partners. In 2019, we went to market, and unfortunately, the market told us that they were not prepared to build a geothermal power plant at the price that we thought was the right price on the advice of, at the time, Jacobs, our consultants. That effort was derailed for a while, but we continue to persevere. And I'm saying this because I want you to understand that we've really not been sitting idle by. Again, we reset, and by 2020, we came with a new roadmap to develop geothermal. So we move away from the initial negotiations of a 7-megawatt plant and determined that we needed 10 megawatts. In addition to that, we recognized one of the risks of the previous project as designed was because of what was considered to be a very treacherous route for the transmission line, moving all the way from Loda to Trafalgar. We were able, with the assistance of consultants from Italy, STEAM from Italy, and ISOR from Iceland, we were able to redesign a geothermal project that included the drilling of a new injection well in Loda within close proximity to the production well and where the power plant is to be located. We moved along with $10 million from the United Kingdom and with $2 million from SIDSDOC, we were able to drill 2 new wells, 1 production well and 1 injection well. We were forced to do 2 wells because no company was prepared to come to Dominica to drill 1 well. We got a bonus at that, and we will make very good use of it. In our negotiations, COVID started, and in discussions with another consortium of French partners, we had gotten to the point where we felt that we had arrived at an agreement. However, recognizing that the project was an associated project of the World Bank, we had to meet the requirements of the World Bank. The World Bank raised some concerns which we sought to address, but alas, we had lost another 3 months. And our partners, with their own internal priorities, determined that this project was no longer of interest to them. That project would have seen the supply of geothermal power to the French territories of Martinique and Guadeloupe. Unfortunately, the project did not go through. I have to say, with the support of Fred John and DGDC, and some of our partners were able to continue developing the project in spite of the many challenges we've had. That is to say, every disappointment we had did not stop the project. If that were the case, we would not be able to be ready now to construct a plant. We were able to drill 2 new wells, and that adding to how many wells we have now? I think we have about 11 wells. We had already done our test wells, we had done a production and reinjection well, and then we have done another production and reinjection well, so we're pretty much on our way. But before I close, I just want to let you know why I said all of this. And to remind you that we are pursuing geothermal energy not because it is easy, not because I just love geothermal. I mean, I love to see the steam, I have to admit. After the production wells were uncapped and we saw the steam, it was beautiful. I used to go there maybe a few times a week, I have to admit. So yes, it's true, I really love the technology. But we are pursuing geothermal energy because we believe it has the potential to transform Dominica. And I'm not saying this lightly, because we have seen one of our sacred I should say, source of energy, hydro, which we've been pursuing since 1950. What has happened because of the impact of global warming? We've seen our freshwater lake at unprecedented low levels, about 4.5 meters, when we're used to having twice that level to 8 to almost 9 meters. So we have seen what the worst drought on record has done to us, and therefore recognize the limitations of hydropower. But we have also seen, as one of the most beautiful islands in the world, and we know we are the nature island of the Caribbean, that the things that make us beautiful are the things that make other energy technologies a challenge. So we have seen the limitations that solar power can have. Because when we needed the most, that is when we have the most cloud cover. That is to say, before or after a hurricane. And even recently with a little storm, or not even a storm, a tropical depression that affected us, we saw what happened 3 days on end of cloudy days. We know that there are great possibilities for other renewable energy technologies, but one of the things that I have learned even in my own research, and as the leader of renewable energy in small island developing states, when we created SITSDOT and subsequently SICRE in Barbados, I have found out and I have concluded in my own research that the best way for small island developing states to pursue renewable energy is to look at the most appropriate technology for your circumstances. And in the case of Dominica, we are fortunate, we are blessed that we have geothermal potential that can meet our demand, surpass our demand, and help us to create new industries and to export power. Technologies have moved so far that we do not necessarily need cables to export power. We can export power in ammonia as green hydrogen, and we can ensure that we can create new industries, new economies for Dominica. And this is why we are pursuing geothermal energy. So yes, I know every time the lights have gone out, we have felt the knee-jerk reaction that had we put on an entire field of solar panels, we would have had power. Yes, on a sunny day. What happens when there's no sun? Batteries, you say? How much batteries? What is the cost of batteries? Solar panels are cheap, but batteries aren't that cheap. So we are fortunate, and we have to pursue this. And we have to resist the urge to come up with solutions that would disadvantage the next generation. So we must not do this selfishly to satisfy our needs only, but to think of the future generations. A good geothermal power plant can give us 50 to 60 years if it's properly maintained, the resource is managed properly, plant designed well, and we'll hear from the experts. You don't have to take my word for it. But we have to make the investment no matter how difficult it is. So in conclusion, I want to again take the opportunity to recognize the leadership of our Prime Minister. And I will tell you as well, in my own research, I concluded by saying that one of the good things, or one of the main contributors that could help small states to transition to renewable energy is predictability in leadership. People say political will. I don't like that. It's more than political will. Any politician will tell you it's more than political will. It is having the right leadership, and in our case, it has been undisturbed for the last 23 years. So we've been very fortunate. And if you don't believe me, go to St. Vincent. And if you don't believe me, check St. Lucia, and you will see the differences. We have been able to pursue this for a while, and we are committed to seeing it to the very, very end. Thank you to all of you who have come to join us. We know we have made great partners over the last several months. In the case of the United States Department of State, I remember attending one of your events in Pittsburgh last year. We met in Miami at CREF with Ambassador Barron. We started the process, and we have embraced you as a partner. We brought you on board. IRENA has been a partner for a long time. You have provided support periodically. We hope you know that you will be with us to the end, so thank you for that. Colleen has been a true friend of Dominica. She's not soft, she's a tough lady, but she's fair. She has been with us on this project for a while, perhaps a bit had enough of all the back and forth, but soon we will pass that, Colin. And you and your friends at the bank, thank Stephanie Guilford for her leadership over the last couple of years. Frederic just come on board, but he's a true atier, so he will help us through the process as he takes on his World Bank responsibility. I know it is not easy. And of course, we want to recognize all of you. Didier has been a true supporter, and I'm hoping he can help to mobilize some of the UN resources. For us, the CDB has been there. I don't know why my friend Joe Williams is sitting on the back row. We've left a seat for you up front, Joe. So Joe Williams has been a true soldier, pushing along, and it's good to see all of you, so many of you who have been there with us and helping us to move through, and we hope we can continue our journey together. We have new partners, the financial secretary. I bother her a lot on this. I ask her to pay for lands, I ask her to pay for this and pay for that, and she's always been able to respond. I have to thank you, Madam Financial Secretary. And all our friends at Dominica, Stamp, you know, we have been on this journey for a long time, and I'm hoping that we can see it through to the end. And of course, my friend Justin Case from the IRC, who is always someone to have around because he helps to keep balance. I want to thank all of you for being here today, and I am looking forward to engaging with you over the next 2 days. And sorry, Prime Minister, I've had to detain you for so long. I just wanted to share my thoughts while you're here. I wanted to share most of them while you're here, and I hope you'll forgive me for going on for so long. But thank you very much, and let us work together to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Henderson, for your tremendous work in the energy sector. Ladies and gentlemen, I too take this opportunity to extend gratitude to those who have helped and are helping on this major transformation journey. I recognize also our local partners, all of whom are integral in this transformational journey. However, today, I especially want to say thank you to our global partners. On the technical and support front, we extend a special thank you to the World Bank, the European Union, governments of France, the government of Iceland and the United States, the United Arab Emirates, and New Zealand. I must also thank IRENA, the government of Iceland again, and the United Nations for making today's workshop possible. At this point in the program, I wish to invite representatives of our partners who are here today to offer some remarks. I begin with IRENA. IRENA has embraced this project and is providing valuable support as we seek to plug funding and capability gaps. IRENA played no small role in this morning's function, and I invite Mr. Ahmed, Director of IRENA's Projects Facilitation and Projects Division, to address you.
Good morning. On behalf of our Director General, Mr. Francesco La Camera, I would like to give all thanks and greetings to His Excellency Prime Minister, Mr. Roosevelt Skemet, and also His Excellency Minister Dr. Vince Henderson. Also, I would like to welcome all partners here, starting with Mr. Dieter Beck from United Nations, who is the resident representative, our partners from Caribbean Development Fund, from Caribbean Development Bank, from the World Bank, from US Department of State, also from our main partners, ORMAT, and all colleagues here from OCS. I am not that fan of preparing words. I'm a banker originally. I owe my career to World Bank because I started there, so my speech will be very short. So I would like to say that we are very proud and honored as IRENA to partner today with the government of Dominica, turning the country into 100% renewables. We've been doing so in full partnership with the US Department of State and the government of Iceland. We are also looking for more partnership with World Bank, with the Caribbean Development Fund and Caribbean Development Bank and OCS. So we've been working over the past few months to make sure these various milestones are going to be working. And we hope that the deal with ORMA to be finalized. We're working on that in order to welcome you all in the COP28 in less than 8 weeks in Dubai, which we really would like to welcome and host the government of Dominica, led by His Excellency the Prime Minister and Excellency Dr. Henderson, among all partners, to sign or to announce the deal, and also to discuss, as we're going to do these coming 2 days, as basically put in or be cast in stone what needs to be done in the coming few weeks in order to provide more support along the plans that Dominica ambitiously is doing. And here in IRENA, we are committed 100% in order to push it further into the targets, again in partnership with U.S. Department of State, Government of Iceland, and all our partners from the Caribbean, either Caribbean Development Bank or Caribbean Development Fund. I would like to stop here and thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hamid. This conference and the follow-up activities hopefully are just the beginning of many years of fruitful collaboration. Ladies and gentlemen, the government of Iceland has been a committed partner to this project, particularly in providing training to Dominicans in various aspects of geothermal operations, especially through their highly rated 6-month training facility. And we thank them for that. As we move forward to expanding this relationship, Dominica seeks to learn from Iceland all of its transformation experiences. Iceland is not here with us this morning, but virtual, and so we want to express our gratitude. The UN brings true global depth to our efforts, and their significant local presence is a bonus. I now invite the United Nations Resident Coordinator for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, Mr. Didier Trubok, to address us.
Good morning. Thank you, PS. Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister of Dominica, Honorable Dr. Vince Anderson, Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Business, Trade and Energy, members of the head tables, ambassador and permanent secretaries, my fellow colleagues, development partners, colleagues of the UN, I think UNDP, UNEP, UNFCCC, IOM and PAHO at least are here today, in person or online. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm really pleased to be again here in Dominica to join the government in welcoming you all and all development partners who in the end are working to make Dominica the world's first climate resilient nation. And first allow me to congratulate Her Excellency Sylvanie Burton for her election as the first female president of the Commonwealth of Dominica. My heartfelt congratulations to her and to the Commonwealth of Dominica. This meeting, in a way, is a follow-up to the Development Partners meeting that we had in March, earlier this year, convened by the government and the UN, where we discussed with many of you, actually, how to work together to tackle the most pressing development needs for this country. And we then identified, among others, the need to work closer together and support more intensely Dominica, which has shown strong leadership over a decade towards delivering affordable and clean energy on the SDG 7, amongst others. And I want to commend the government of Dominica and Prime Minister for his vision and leadership in this endeavor. So we're very happy to be associated in co-organizing this event today as UN, and I want to thank the US Department of State, the government of Iceland, and IRENA, of course, for their partnership to make this event possible today. And in a way, my presence here is a testimony to the commitment of the UN development system to further mobilize international solidarity, cooperation, and support for Dominica's sustainable development. And with 7 years to go for SDG achievement, not so long ago, a few days ago, it was the SDG summit in New York, we know that there is no doubt that the green transition is an important enabler and investment pathway for seeds to be able to achieve the SDGs. The nexus between energy security and economic and social development is very well documented, because energy security is not only a necessary means for economic growth and diversification, but an important vehicle for reducing inequalities, including gender inequalities. And we know that the share of renewable energy in the mix in Dominica is already high, at around 35% of capacity. And as we have heard from Dr. Vince Anderson, Dominica has already invested a lot of resources and effort in this journey of the transition to geothermal energy. So we are in a way convening today to close the last mile in this journey, to help Dominica mobilize the missing public and private resources to close the gap, as well as the expertise that is required to build the remaining infrastructure needed to deliver geothermal energy to all parts of the islands. And with that, we can be confident that households, businesses, and public buildings will be provided 100% renewable energy through the grid. So we really see as UN this meeting as a signature moment, as a development community, for us to rise up, to help Dominica to showcase to its people and the rest of the world that the green transition in seeds is possible. And we are really that close to achieve it. So we should demonstrate that achieving 100% renewable energy in seeds is a reality, and through Dominica, a model that can be replicated. On the other hand, the green energy transition can help unleash Dominica's economic potential. Developing your geothermal resources will create jobs, stimulate local industries, attract investment, so it's not just about mitigating energy price volatility and reducing energy bill, it's also about fostering inclusive economic growth that will benefit every Dominican. And we shouldn't forget, and we have seen what happened in recent history, that such an endeavor with a geothermal power plant with underground transmission lines can also provide a stable source of energy during emergencies. I also wanted to say that energy access and affordability are, of course, essential for achieving the sustainable development goals. Geothermal energy can help bridge the gap in energy access and lay the foundation for progress in other areas, like education, healthcare, food security, poverty alleviation, of course. And furthermore, this transition presents unparalleled opportunities for significant development growth with multiplier effects. So by investing in this transition, Dominica will certainly experience paradigm shifts in multiple sectors, not to mention increased revenue. So of course, we know that this path is promising, and it is not without challenges, because Dominica needs additional investment, as we will discuss today and tomorrow, perhaps investment in human capital. So collectively, we must ensure that the benefits of this transition reach every Dominican, leave no one behind. So it's a collective effort that requires the collaboration amongst all of us, in government, the business, the community, and all international partners who are here around the table today. So again, Dominica has made commendable progress in its development work and should be commended for this. But of course, for Dominica to realize its full potential through this transition, it also needs the required support to cross the finish line. So as UN, we really call today on the respective support for this transition to a new energy mix and help Dominica to propel its growth even further. So I want to conclude by saying that by embracing geothermal energy, really we see Dominica as potentially becoming a global leader in sustainable development and renewable energy. And its partners, be it countries, multilateral institutions, private investors, can also demonstrate their leadership on this opportunity through crucial investment pathway for achieving the Agenda 2030. So, together, Prime Minister, we're here to support your vision of Dominica becoming the first resilient nation in the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Tribok. And if the strength of the UN contingent here today is anything to go by, we are well on our way to building a very meaningful partnership. Thank you. The U.S. government has re-engaged in our geothermal development efforts in a significant way. Their support currently includes much-needed technical assistance with the commercial agreements for the power plant. Ms. Brett Hernandez, Dominica's country officer at the U.S. Embassy in Barbados, is here and will now deliver some remarks. Brett.
Good morning, distinguished guests. It is wonderful to see everyone here this morning. The Honorable Prime Minister Skerritt, the Honorable Foreign Minister Henderson, Permanent Secretary Daly, and colleagues from the Government of Dominica, the Government of Martinique, the UK Government, the United Nations, World Bank, International Renewable Energy Agency, GeoBuild, Warmat Technologies, the Caribbean Development Bank, and the CARICOM Development Fund. Good morning to you all. It is such a privilege to be here in beautiful Dominica with all of you. My name is Brett Hernandez, and I am the U.S. Embassy's new Dominica country officer. I look forward to getting to know all of you and to working closely together, today and in the future. I also want to thank the people of Dominica for the warm welcome you have already given me and my colleagues. I am thrilled to learn more about the Nature Isle, beautiful Dominica. I hope that together we can advance a more prosperous future for the people of Dominica. The United States is committed to partnering with Dominica to strengthen the country's climate resilience and energy security. That's why the United States launched the U.S. Caribbean Partnership to Address the Climate Crisis 2030, or PAC 2030. PAC 2030, led by U.S. Vice President Harris, is a partnership to assist Dominica and all our Caribbean partners in managing the existential challenge of our time, climate change. It also is the platform through which we provide technical assistance to help Dominica manage its energy transition, including ongoing cooperation through the U.S. Department of State's Power Sector Program of the Bureau of Energy Resources. We're providing support to help Dominica develop its geothermal resource potential so that it may rely 100% on renewable energy. Our Power Sector Program will also deliver technical trainings to Dominica's geothermal development company, DOMLEC, and the regulator, the IRC, to support Dominica's geothermal project and a clean energy future. We also support Dominica's goals of building a more resilient grid for the future that can better withstand hurricane winds and other extreme weather events. As the planet continues to warm and storms intensify, we have seen increased risks to Dominica's people, the American people, and people around the world. Climate change has had significant consequential impacts on food and water supplies, public health, and infrastructure, including in the energy sector here in Dominica. Natural disasters are more powerful and damaging to local communities. Dominica's people know this all too well. That's why it's critical for Dominica, the United States, and other partners to work together to invest in climate mitigation and adaptation efforts in Dominica and beyond. This workshop is an important opportunity to show what we can achieve together in support of Dominica's ambitious goals to accelerate a transition to clean energy and build climate-resilient infrastructure. Dominica's successful transition to geothermal energy will ensure a stable supply of electricity, increasing economic opportunity for Dominica's people and Dominica's economic growth. Supporting Dominica's vision will also demonstrate to the world the power of clean energy and collaboration of like-minded partners. Our efforts combined will create a sustainable, clean energy and resilient future for our children and future generations. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of this important discussion. I look forward to partnering with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett. And finally, I wish to call to the podium the World Bank representative in the person of Ms. Kalin Francis, Senior Operations Officer. Ms. Francis.
Dr. the Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister, the Honorable Dr. Vince Henderson, Minister of Foreign Affairs, International Business, Trade and Energy, Mrs. Barbara Daly, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, International Business, Trade and Energy, Mr. Didier Trudeau, United Nations Resident Coordinator for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean States, Mr. Ahmed Ba, I hope I pronounced it properly, Director of the International Renewable Energy Agency, Mrs. Brett Hernandez, Dominica Country Officer, Embassy of the United States, Mr. Fred John, Chairman of the Dominica Geothermal Development Company, Honorable Ministers, Senators, Parliamentary Representatives, Ms. Denise Edwards, Financial Secretary, Permanent Secretaries, Senior Government Officials, members of the media, diplomatic partners, and regional organizations. To all those in the room and online, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm not hearing people in the room. All right, good morning. It is indeed a pleasure and a privilege to be here in the Nature Isles of Dominica, which I call my second home. So when I arrived, Akmil and I traveled into Roseau, and I was able to tell him about the history of Dominica. I must say, Prime Minister, I knew much more than Gregory, our driver. So you will have to give me an honorable passport. It is indeed a pleasure to be here at the Dominica Geothermal Global Partners Conference, entitled Enabling Dominica Transition to 100% Renewable Energy Before 2030. As you know, the World Bank is a very, very strong partner of the government and also the people of the Commonwealth of Dominica. I would say we are almost family. So when we're very hard on ensuring that certain regulations and procedures are in place, it is to safeguard the people and the government of Dominica. And I'm not saying that to take away from the excellent progress that has been made so far by the government. We are committed to the vision of Dominica becoming the first climate resilient country in the world. And everywhere I go, I boast that Dominica was the first that used the phrase build back better. And you will see that all over within the bank, the US government, and all over the world, that phrase is used, build back better. So already Dominica has set a very high bar. And through the diversification of the energy mix, Dominica will become the first climate resilient country of the world. The Dominica Geothermal Risk Mitigation Project was the first World Bank financed geothermal project in the Caribbean. And it was approved in 2019, and it became effective in 2020. And I want to let you know that that project, the total value was 51.45 million, and it was a combination of financing from several development partners, and the negotiations for those grants were led by none other than Dr. Vince Henderson, in addition to the World Bank. So the World Bank contributed 17.2 million, FCDO, formerly DFID, contributed 10 million, SIDDOCS 2 million, the Clean Technology Fund, CTF 9.9 million, approximately 10, the Government of New Zealand 2 million, and the government itself contributed counterpart funding of 10.3 million. This was so remarkable that the project itself won the best financing program in 2019 in July in Santiago, Chile, because it was deemed to be transformational, that so many development partners could come together and recognize the vision of Dominica having such a transformational project. And so Dominica won the Geothermal Congress for Latin America and the Caribbean Award in that year of 2019. And so it's a pleasure to be back here at this conference, working with other development partners to see how we can move forward to support Dominica in its vision to have geothermal energy on the island. I just want to give you an update on the progress of the project. So Minister Henderson outlined to you that there were several challenges, and in life, depending on how you look at the glass, whether or not it's half full or half empty, we would like to say it's half full, right? And we see in every challenge opportunities. So in February 2022, the government requested a restructuring of the project to look at and to support additional drilling activities to provide adequate reinjection capacity to develop the Dominica geothermal power plant. In addition, we also supported additional production capacity to enable a capacity increase of the geothermal plant from the original 7 million to 10 megawatts as well. And also the government's vision to have a private consortium to construct the power plant. I'm very happy to say that there has been significant progress to date. The government succeeded in drilling one production well and one reinjection well. Not only were the wells very successful in terms of the technical performance, more than 10 megawatts for the production well and high injectivity for the reinjection well, but they represented a triumph over adversity. Because during this period, we had COVID, we also had the beginning of the war in Ukraine, but throughout, the government was able to succeed with having unexpected ground conditions, was able to successfully drill these wells. So the one production well and the one reinjection well. We are also very pleased with the way in which the environment and social aspect of the project were managed. The implementing agency, DGDC, worked closely with the bank to implement the necessary processes and took care of the community and the environment and delivered on the activities under the project. The World Bank is very pleased with the tremendous progress made on geothermal energy in Dominica and is very supportive of Dominica's drive to a 100% renewable energy system. I am particularly pleased with the continued commitment of the government and also the people of Dominica towards this geothermal goal. You can count on the World Bank's continued commitment in good times and in challenging times, and we stand ready to provide further assistance to the government and the people of Dominica. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Francis. Ladies and gentlemen, all of our partners present have expressed their renewed commitment towards Dominica's geothermal project. And this is important for us here in Dominica because sometimes fatigue can kick in when something is taking too long. So thank you, partners, for your renewed commitment. In 2017, having been battered by Hurricane Maria, Prime Minister Skerrit declared to the world he was on a mission to making Dominica the first climate-resilient nation in the world. I say this today to all Dominicans. This phrase, this statement, has stuck with everyone, everywhere. The world is watching us and we will not fail. An ambitious target, some may say, but we are proud of the blueprints that he has laid and the manner in which every sector feeds into this wider national plan, including efforts at energy security. It therefore gives me great pleasure to call to the podium Honorable Dr. Roosevelt Skerrit, Prime Minister of the Commonwealth of Dominica, to address us.
Thank you. Let me recognize Honorable Dr. Vince Henderson, our Minister for Energy, distinguished head table, our friends from IRENA, from the US government, from UNDP, and from the World Bank, distinguished representatives of the various partner organizations and countries present. Ladies and gentlemen, friends all, good morning. I extend very warm greetings and sincere welcome to all of you who have traveled to Dominica to confer us on this important matter of renewable energy and how our existing partnerships can be enhanced for the future security and sustainable development of our country and region. I do hope that Minister Henderson will afford you the opportunity to visit one of our many hot spas, thermal spas in the Roosevelt Valley. It can be open at any time of the morning for you, so you can experience the thermal energy that we have in our country. Dominica is indeed grateful for your support and cooperation over the years in this particular endeavor. And we look forward to forging new links and building on the gains we have enjoyed thus far. This is an opportunity to renew our successes, to review our successes, and decide together how we can march on to the completion of Dominica's geothermal energy project. The government of Dominica took the leap into renewable energy development over a decade ago. With no fear of contradiction, I can safely say that geothermal energy exploration is a grueling and arduous task. But we have stuck with it because we are convinced the long-term benefits far outweigh the downsides. One of the takeaways for us is that combining renewable energy exploration with the need to build resilience and the realities of small island infrastructure and topography is not for the faint-hearted. And it is not cheap at all. In fact, the costs associated with geothermal exploration are astronomical. And often over the past years, we have had to consider the wisdom of continuing with this ambitious project. Consider the roadblocks to our progress, which have come in the form of a pandemic, successive storms and hurricanes, geopolitical upheavals, and procurement challenges. It is also not easy being the first, a pioneer of such in the region. We have the scars to show for this, but we have kept our eyes on the prize of reduced electricity costs for our citizens, the ability to generate 100% of electricity through renewable sources, and the prospect of a new source of revenue for the state from the sale of excess energy to our neighbors. When the geothermal plant in the Rosa Valley comes online, we will see reduced cost of doing business and an increase in foreign direct investment in our country. So we are the first to admit it has been a long journey marred by bumps along the road, but we have had successes. This year, we completed drilling on 2 additional geothermal wells. In the coming months, we anticipate construction will commence on a 10-megawatt power plant in Loda, as well as the building of a new high-capacity transmission network. These latest developments and our incremental successes over the past decade are due in large measure to the generosity of our international partners. Steadfast partners like you are an indispensable part of our process and success. Over US $55 million, or EC $150 million, have been invested thus far in this project. Most of it is scalable infrastructure. 45% of this cost has been shouldered by the government of Dominica. But significantly, 55% of this funding has come in the form of infrastructure grants and technical assistance from our partners. Infrastructure grants have been the key to our progress. We have observed that it is easier to secure technical assistance than these infrastructure grants. But without them, we probably would not be where we are today. So I extend particular thanks to the European Union and the government of the French Republic for the early grants which helped us to drill our first 3 wells. The government of the United Kingdom is also a valued partner, having contributed US $10 million, or EC $27 million, which funded the drilling activities we completed earlier this year. In fact, I've been told that the team wants to paint the flag of the United Kingdom on the wells to show our gratitude to the government of the United Kingdom. And I suspect we may have many flags around the geothermal plant, because there has been really a coalition of the willing who's been helping us to realize our dream of 100% renewable energy in Dominica. So we say thank you, all of you, very much. We also want to recognize the Seed Stock Organization and Clean Technology Fund for their monetary contributions allocated to additional infrastructure development. So today's donors conference is about extending our cooperation to take us over the finish line and to demonstrate to the region and small island developing states around the globe that regardless of our size and limited capacity, we can take the lead in renewable energy development. Despite our vulnerabilities, we can make major moves to transform our world, secure our economic futures, and reverse the worrying trends associated with climate change and energy security. In our particular case, we are confident that exploration of this readily available, reliable, clean, and safe energy option will further position Dominica to confront the effects of disaster and other economic shocks which plague our development. We look to those of you who have already contributed to continue their support for this venture. And we invite new partners to be part of this success story, because we are fully confident it will be a success story. Certainly, you'll agree that we have come too far. The only way forward is to ensure that Dominica has the means and backing to forge ahead to the full commissioning of a geothermal energy plant in the Rosa Valley. And so, on behalf of the government and people of Dominica, we're indeed grateful for your participation today. And we look forward to working together on this historic project for Dominica and the region. And we have no doubt that when we become successful with this project, the rest of the region will certainly seek to adventure in taking advantage of the so many renewable energy sources that we have within the region. And so words cannot express my personal gratitude to all of you who have been journeying with us for so long. And this is our commitment to not only Dominica, but to the world. And Minister Henderson would have told you how long ago we started this journey. And so we have been at the forefront of protecting the environment. Long before the issue of climate change became fashionable, Dominica has been leading the way, with more than 45% of our country protected as forest reserves, ensuring that we limit carbon emissions out in the atmosphere. And our marine space protected, and later this year we'll increase our marine protection by about 30% to ensure that our resident whales and other marine creatures can thrive and survive in our environment. So we're leading the way, and rest assured that Dominica has the absolute political commitment to this project. It has been difficult, and we've had to make difficult decisions in advancing this project, recognizing that we were affected by 2 successive natural disasters. 90% of our GDP affected in 2015, and 226% of our GDP affected in 2017. But we remain committed to this project because we understand and appreciate that at the end of the day, it will be a transformational project and provide a better future for our children and for ourselves. And I'm so happy to see that students of the State College are present. And I do hope that the State College is studying this project and its potential impact on Dominica so that we all can be seized with its reality. I know it's taking long, but they say good things come to those who wait. And we are fortified by that saying. And we're so happy to have so many of you partners here who have traveled so far to register your commitment and your continued commitment to this project. And I'm so happy to see our friends from Martinique, who we've worked so closely together over these years. And because if we can get this energy exported to Martinique and Guadeloupe, which we're prepared to offer, this would certainly help Martinique as a member of the European Union to achieve its contribution of renewable energy to its national grid and address so many environmental issues that we're seeking to confront together. Dominica is prepared to work with all of you, not only in this project, but on the issue of climate change and its impact on countries like ours. God bless you and God bless our efforts, and we look forward to firm commitments. I know that you came in there with some blank checks, and you'll ask Dr. Henderson to fill in the amount in both in words and numbers. But thank you all for being here. Just your presence here means a lot to us. It means that we have the world appreciating what we're doing and registering their support and their cheerleading for Dominica. And this is a source of energy and comfort to us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prime Minister, and thank you for your leadership and vision to stay the course. Ladies and gentlemen, we have now come to the formal end of the opening ceremony. I wish to take the opportunity on behalf of Honorable Vince Henderson, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, International Business, Trade and Energy, to say thank you to the Honorable Prime Minister for making the time to be here with us this morning, to express our thanks also to our partners, the United Nations Resident Coordinator for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, Mr. Didier Tribok and his staff, Mr. Ahmed from the International Renewable Energy Agency Project Facilitation and Support Division, IRENA, Ms. Callan Francis, Senior Operations Officer of the World Bank, Ms. Brett Hernandez, Dominica's Country Officer at the Embassy of the United States, the Director of the CARICOM Fund, the Financial Secretary, other PSAs present, Mr. Fred John, Chairman of the Dominica Geothermal Company, President of the State College, Mr. Donald Peters, and students, Ambassador Francine Barron and the staff of CREED, Mr. Case and the staff of the IRC, DOMLEC, staff of DOMLEC as well, and a special thank you to the staff of the Dominica Geothermal and Development Office and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We now have a 15-minute break, and we will regroup to go into our working sessions. So thank you, and a special thank you to the media for bringing this to the world, because we need the coverage and the world must understand that geothermal is coming to Dominica. Thank you, everyone.